Once upon a time, Formula One was watched by dads who wore earplugs and argued about tire pressure. Nowadays, in Formula Lust 1, we get Charles Leclerc flicking his hair, Carlos Sainz licking his lips, and Lando Norris being Lando Norris. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing, because these videos brought in what I consider one of the most important portions of this fan base, the F1 fangirls. Like, honestly, where would we be without you guys? These days, your For You page looks more like a dating app for drivers than a motorsport feed, and someone's definitely arguing in the comments about who has the best jawline on the grid. But this new stuff makes the sport feel alive. There's drama, humor, storylines, and an audience that treats every Grand Prix like an episode of reality TV. But how did we get here? How did a sport once dominated by men in paddocks turn into a global obsession powered by women? Yes, I'm a sucker for history, so let's turn back time a little bit. Everything started to change when a group of Americans bought Formula One. In 2016, Liberty Media saw the sorry state of F1 and decided this huge pile of mess needed a serious glow-up. They wanted to make it more modern, more global, and way more entertaining. And so in 2019, Drive to Survive was born. Suddenly, what used to be a sport for insiders became the Real Housewives of racing. Viewers were locked into rivalries, heartbreaks, and breakdowns that felt straight out of reality TV. Who doesn't like a good story? For the first time, fans got to see the personalities behind the helmets, the calm ones, the hot-headed guys, the ones who just couldn't stop crashing. Drive to Survive turned 20 anonymous men into 20 emotionally complex main characters, each with their own fan base, memes, and fangirls. But the biggest shift would come during the pandemic. Everyone was stuck at home, bored, and hungry for new obsessions. F1 TikTok and YouTube edits peaked during this time. Short clips of drivers with moody filters and The Weeknd playing in the background. You'd watch one and suddenly your algorithm thought you were a lifelong Ferrari supporter. It was wild how fast things changed. The same sport that once struggled to trend on Twitter was now all over social media. Even people who didn't know what DRS meant were making fan cams, arguing about tire strategies, and falling in love with Charles Leclerc's Monaco accent. Drive to Survive made the sport emotional. TikTok made it cool. And together they created a new kind of F1 fan. One who cared about racing, story, and the faces. Most importantly, the faces. It may come as a surprise to you to know that there are currently over 17,000 fanfics about the drivers, and you can take your pick from dramatic slow burn romances to chaotic pit lane adventures. The culture has grown so quickly that it's starting to feel like its own little world. Two girls, one formula breaks down race weekends with the same passion usually reserved for celebrity gossip. These girls are reshaping the sport, giving it a new tone, a softer, funnier, and more emotional one, and I am here for it. Now, when it comes to actual thirst videos and what I call the F1 fangirl obsession, three drivers can be found at the crime scene: Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz is the smooth operator.
Smooth operator. Smooth operator.
This guy could crash mid-race, sing over the team radio, and still have fans calling him husband material. Charles Leclerc, Monaco's golden boy and the internet's emotional support driver, this guy puts millions of women and men in distress every weekend, just cause he races for a shit team. Every time Ferrari fucks up a strategy, Twitter becomes a therapy group chat. He is the tragic prince with a beautiful smile and the worst luck imaginable.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
And then Lando Norris, the youngest of the trio, almost like the internet's chaotic little brother. While Carlos is smooth and Charles is soulful, Lando is the meme factory. He jokes with fans online, streams on Twitch, and somehow turns finishing P7 into a comedy show. Together, these three are the face of the sport's cultural glow-up. Of course, before the Hamilton fans got mad, yes, your king has one of the best faces, but there's also a host of others that I cannot include here because we have more important things to discuss moving forward. Now, the chances that you've seen the F1 movie are pretty high, and that's because they got Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and Lewis Hamilton working on it. That whole movie was like the fangirl dream, and the work was done incredible, to be honest. They literally placed their cars right on the grid next to Ferrari and Mercedes. Fans at Silverstone and Monza were watching Brad Pitt line up next to actual drivers like some weird simulation. The same community that made Leclerc edits go viral suddenly turned Damson into their next main character. It wasn't just because he looked good in a race suit, he did, but because his casting meant something something. For the first time, a young black actor was playing a lead role in an F1 film, in a sport that's been almost entirely white and male since forever. It felt symbolic, representation finally showing up on the starting grid, and nobody amplified that more than the fangirl side of the fandom. They celebrated Damson's casting, dissecting every on-set clip, and turning behind-the-scenes interviews into emotional montages. Lewis Hamilton, the only black driver in F1 history, ensured the movie got it right, from the accuracy of the cars to the emotion of being the outsider in a system built to resist change.
I'm doing this Formula 1 movie with Brad Pitt and Joe Kosinski, but my job is to make sure that it's diverse behind the camera as it is on screen. The story is empowering and uplifting. There's no BS in terms of the racing, and hopefully one kid will watch it or more and feel empowered to go and do something great.
The movie's story hit differently. It wasn't just about winning races, it was about belonging, ambition, and proving yourself in a world that's already written you off. Damson brought that main character energy, and suddenly Formula 1 had its own cinematic hero. And once again, the fangirls did what they do best: make it bigger. Fan cams, edits, theories. Years ago, people would probably not care too much for the movie. That's the thing. They made the hype fun. The movie didn't take itself too seriously, and neither did the fans. It bridged two worlds: the old school crowd and the new school audience who just wanted to vibe with the aesthetic. At this point, it's official. The girls run the show. Formula 1 has gone from a niche motorsport to a global conversation, and women are right at the center of it. But with so many new faces flooding in, not everyone's clapping. Enter the gatekeepers. Honestly, some of you guys could make a career in security. Longtime fans aren't thrilled about the current fangirl wave. Acting like watching Drive to Survive makes you an inferior fan. Every time someone posts a harmless edit, there's always that one guy in the comments saying, "Name every world champion since 1950 then." But think about it. Football fangirls flood stadiums, wear player jerseys, cry over missed penalties, and most couldn't explain the offside rule. And that's fine. Nobody calls them fake fans. Yet the moment a woman edits a clip of Charles Leclerc blinking in slow motion, it's suddenly the downfall of motorsport civilization. In reality, the F1 fandom demands way more brainpower. You've got 20 drivers, 10 teams, and 100 variables: tires, weather, pit windows, aero setups. It's chess at 200 miles an hour. It's the same tired argument as if you can't appreciate the sport and find it entertaining. Even within the community, some women feel pressured to prove they aren't like the other fangirls, as though enjoying the aesthetics or drama was something to be ashamed of. Nearly 30% of F1's audience is now women, and beyond the memes and fan cams, these fans know their stuff. They debate tire strategy, fuel loads, and DRS zones like pros. Some even spot upgrade packages before the media does, or build their own data tools to analyze qualifying sessions. The truth is, the sport didn't lose depth when fangirls arrived. It gained soul. It is becoming a living culture where everyone gets to have a voice, whether they're analyzing tire degradation or editing a slow-mo of Lewis Hamilton walking into the paddock. In 70+ years, only 2 women have ever competed in a Grand Prix, and only one black driver, Lewis Hamilton, has made it to the grid. Not exactly diverse for a sport that calls itself global, but this new wave of fans, especially women, creators, and fans of color, is pushing that conversation forward. They're asking, why is it still like this? And how can we make it better? Lewis Hamilton has been leading that charge too. Beyond being a 7-time world champion, he uses his platform to challenge the status quo. He's collaborated with Dior, Tommy Hilfiger, and Valentino. And this year, he co-chaired the Met Gala with Pharrell Williams and LeBron James. That crossover between sport and culture is exactly where Formula 1 lives now. It's no longer just pit stops and podiums, it's about aesthetic, influence, and identity. Women in the paddock like Lily Munihi, Alexandra St. Mieux, and Francisca Sequeira Gomez embody that blend of fashion and motorsport, showing that being part of F1 doesn't have to look one way. Fangirls did more than make the sport trend, they made it visible. They brought F1 into new spaces: beauty, music, fashion, film, lifestyle. They turned a niche motorsport into a global aesthetic. Now, F1 isn't just a Sunday race on TV, it's a movement that lives online, on runways, and in every edit tagged #F1 TikTok. The helmets, the champagne, the chaos, they have become part of a shared cultural language. And maybe that's the real evolution. Formula 1 stopped being about who had access and started being about who cared enough to show up, post, and create. But before we wave the checkered flag, there's still one more lap, because the story isn't over. The sport's future, its identity, and its fans are all racing towards something even bigger. Everyone except Fernando Alonso. Click on the video to find out more.